Beloved, life is a mirror, ever reflecting back to us the consciousness we hold within. The world is not separate from us, it is shaped by the thoughts, words, and feelings we nurture daily. When one walks in the spirit of abundance, doors open, opportunities flow, and wealth rushes forth like an ever-present stream. The invisible becomes visible when we claim it with unwavering faith. Riches, prosperity, and success are not far away. They already exist in the great storehouse of the infinite. We draw them into our lives by acting as if they are ours now. The secret is not waiting for proof, but living in the vibration of certainty. The individual who thinks lack, speaks lack, and fears lack must see it manifest. But the one who dares to see plenty, speak plenty, and expect plenty shall surely reap it. The laws of the universe are exact, like attracts like. Therefore, to walk in confidence, dignity, and gratitude is to summon the riches of heaven and earth. Do not say, "When I have more, then I will live better." No, beloved, live better now, with what you have. Wear what you have with pride, walk with assurance, give generously, and speak kindly. These are the seeds that blossom into prosperity. Remember, wealth is not simply money in the hand, it is a state of mind. It is peace, freedom, and joy that magnetize the material form. When you embody wealth in thought, word, and deed, the universe rushes to clothe your life with treasures both seen and unseen. Affirm daily. I live in the richness of God's supply. I walk in abundance, and all that I need comes to me by divine right under grace, in perfect ways. Life reflects inner belief, for the outer world is but a mirror of the inner realm. What one holds in mind, what one secretly believes, and what one continually affirms becomes the fabric of daily experience. The unseen thought is creative, shaping circumstances with invisible hands, drawing to the individual those people, events, and opportunities that match the vibration of the heart. If one believes in lack, then lack must be drawn. If one believes in abundance, then abundance must appear. The law is exact, impartial, and unfailing. It does not waver, for it responds to conviction and expectation, as faithfully as the soil receives and multiplies the seed. Many souls wander through life thinking that fate governs them, or that luck chooses some and denies others. Yet the truth is, higher a man or woman fashions destiny by the pattern of inner belief. Fear entertained becomes a chain, holding the individual in repeated disappointment. Faith embraced becomes a wing, lifting life into new levels of freedom. Belief is the magnet that arranges the affairs of life. Just as a magnet cannot help but draw iron, the consciousness cannot help but attract its likeness. The secret chambers of thought are never silent. They broadcast to the universe whether one is open to plenty or closed in limitation. To believe is to create, for belief clothes itself in form. A person who sees themselves as strong, capable, and worthy shall walk into situations that prove their strength, ability, and worth. Another who continually thinks of failure, who silently repeats, "I cannot, I do not, I am not," will surely encounter failure on every side. Life does not mock anyone, it simply reflects. The mirror shows what stands before it, and the mirror of life shows what dwells within. This is why the wise guard their thoughts with vigilance, for every mental picture is a prophecy, every feeling a seed, every belief a law about to take shape. The beauty of this truth is that one need not be a prisoner of old beliefs. Just as a gardener uproots weeds and plants flowers, the soul may uproot thoughts of fear, lack, and doubt, replacing them with faith, abundance, and joy. To hold the belief of goodness is to see goodness manifested. To affirm daily that all things work together for one's highest good is to experience doors opening in ways unforeseen. Life bends to the conviction of the heart. Even when appearances contradict the desire, the steadfast belief, held in trust, will dissolve obstacles and draw new conditions. For the invisible is always greater than the visible, and belief in the unseen brings it into sight. Belief is not wishful thinking, it is inner knowing. To believe in abundance is to walk as though it is already yours, to give thanks before the harvest appears, to carry yourself with dignity and assurance even when the purse is light. Such belief calls forth supply because it is aligned with the eternal truth that God's storehouse is full. To believe in love is to speak kindly, to forgive quickly, to trust that relationships are healed and whole. Such belief transforms loneliness into companionship and sorrow into joy. To believe in success is to act with courage, to take inspired steps, to expect results. Life cannot help but respond to that expectancy, for belief has already prepared the way. Therefore, the individual who masters belief masters destiny. The heart that holds the picture of health, joy, and prosperity will see these forms appear, for the law cannot be broken. It is written in the fabric of the universe, as within so without. The outer life is but a shadow of the inner conviction, and when belief is lifted, life rises with it. Abundance is already present, for it is not something to be chased after in the future, but a spiritual reality existing here and now. The universe is complete, and all that ever has been or ever will be already exists in the invisible supply of spirit. Lack is but an appearance born of fear and limited thought, yet behind every appearance lies the eternal truth of fullness. The air we breathe is abundant, the stars above are countless, the grains of sand cannot be numbered, and the waves upon the sea never cease their motion. If nature itself is overflowing, how can the children of God be left in want? It is only the closed mind, the doubting heart, and the fearful word that seem to shut the door to this divine supply. One must understand that abundance is a state of consciousness. When the mind opens to the truth that supply is infinite, the individual begins to live differently. Gratitude replaces worry, confidence replaces doubt, and peace replaces striving. Many wait for outer proof before they allow themselves to feel prosperous, yet the secret is to feel prosperous now, to know within that the good desired is already accomplished in spirit. Just as a seed contains the whole tree in potential, so every desire placed upon the heart contains within it the means of fulfillment. To believe otherwise is to mistrust the very source of life, which has never failed in its generosity. The sun rises without charge, the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, the earth bears fruit in season. And so too does the infinite pour out blessings upon all who receive. When one says, "I do not have enough," the universe echoes back the same limitation. But when one declares, "All that I need is already mine," unseen forces move into action, arranging circumstances, opening opportunities, and guiding steps toward the manifestation of that truth. It is not that abundance must be created. It is that awareness must be lifted. The wealth of the universe is already here, waiting to be claimed through faith and expectancy. Like a radio tuned to the correct station, one must attune consciousness to prosperity to receive its broadcast. The riches of spirit flow ceaselessly, but only the receptive vessel can hold them. A heart filled with fear is like a vessel turned upside down, it cannot receive. A heart filled with faith is open and overflowing, and it draws more to itself by the law of attraction. Consider how the world demonstrates this truth daily. Ideas come at the right time, strangers extend helping hands, doors open when they seemed locked, and opportunities arise where none appeared before. These are not accidents, but evidence of the unseen abundance that surrounds us. Many have witnessed how, when they shifted their thoughts from worry to trust, supply appeared almost instantly. This is because the universe responds not to pleading but to believing. To say, "I am rich in spirit, and my supply is endless," is to align with divine reality, and reality must show itself in form. Abundance is already present in the love we give and receive, in the joy that cannot be measured, in the peace that money cannot buy, and in the opportunities that appear daily for growth and expression. When one begins to recognize these treasures, even before material riches appear, life takes on a glow of richness. Then the outer forms, money, success, possessions, arrive naturally as reflections of the wealth already acknowledged within. Truly, one need not strive endlessly for supply. One needs only to awaken to the truth that the storehouse of God is full, and that everything required for a rich and satisfying life is already here, waiting to be accepted. Like attracts like, for every thought, feeling, and belief held within the heart sends out a vibration that calls back to itself its own kind. The universe is governed by laws that are unfailing, and this law of attraction works as faithfully as gravity. Whatever a person holds in consciousness is magnetized into their experience. When one lives in fear, worry, or doubt, circumstances appear that justify these states of mind. When one chooses faith, joy, and gratitude, opportunities unfold that reflect those higher vibrations. Life is not a matter of chance but of alignment. To think lack is to invite lack. To think plenty is to invite plenty. The outer world is drawn to match the inner pattern, for life can only echo back what is impressed upon it. Every person carries within themselves an atmosphere, unseen yet powerful. This atmosphere is shaped by thoughts spoken and unspoken, by emotions entertained, and by beliefs rooted deeply in the subconscious. It is this atmosphere that attracts experiences, people, and conditions. A cheerful person draws companionship, a generous person draws generosity, a confident person draws success. Likewise, a bitter person draws bitterness, a fearful person draws disappointment, and one who constantly complains finds ever more reasons to complain. The law works without prejudice, serving whoever calls upon it, whether consciously or unconsciously. This is why self-awareness is so vital. for one who governs their thoughts wisely governs their destiny. Consider how often people say, "This always happens to me," whether in joy or in sorrow. Such declarations are self-fulfilling, for the law of attraction makes them true. A man who expects failure walks into situations that prove him right. A woman who believes herself lucky finds doors opening in her favor. The universe is always listening, not to words alone but to the belief behind them. To speak words of abundance while secretly holding fear of poverty is to mix vibrations and delay results. To align thought, word, and feeling in harmony is to set forth a clear signal that the universe answers swiftly. Faith unshaken and gratitude expressed draw back multiplied good. The great secret is that one need not wait for outer change before cultivating inner change. By deliberately choosing higher thoughts, speaking affirmations of truth, and feeling gratitude for blessings seen and unseen, the atmosphere shifts and life responds in kind. Like attracts like not because of chance, but because energy seeks resonance. A tuning fork struck in one room will cause another of the same pitch to vibrate, though unseen by the eye. In the same way, a heart filled with joy calls forth joy from afar, and a mind centered on success draws successful opportunities across distances. There is no limitation to this law, for it is woven into the fabric of creation. Those who understand this principle cease blaming others or external circumstances for their conditions. Instead, they turn inward, knowing that to shift within is to shift without. They become careful gardeners of the mind, planting seeds of faith, hope, and abundance, and pulling up weeds of fear and doubt. Slowly but surely, their outer world mirrors the inner transformation, for it cannot be otherwise. Just as the soil brings forth the seed sown, life brings forth the consciousness held. To dwell in abundance is to call abundance. To dwell in health is to call health. To dwell in peace is to call peace. Like attracts like, and by this law, each soul has the power to shape its own destiny. Live richly now, for the secret of abundance is not hidden in the distant future, but in the choices made in this very moment. Too often people postpone joy, peace, and prosperity, saying to themselves, "When I earn more, then I will feel secure," or, "When I have this possession, then I will be happy." Yet such postponement delays the blessings that could already be present. To live richly now is to awaken to the truth that richness is not merely measured in possessions, but in the quality of thought, the depth of gratitude, and the spirit with which one engages in life. A man or woman who waits for external conditions to shift before living fully will wait endlessly, for the outer world can only reflect the inner state. When one chooses to live richly, even with little, they set into motion the forces that bring greater supply. Living richly does not demand extravagance or excess. It begins with appreciation of what already exists. A simple meal enjoyed with gratitude becomes a feast. A modest home filled with love and peace becomes a palace. A humble garment worn with dignity becomes a robe of honor. By treating the present with reverence and joy, the individual announces to the universe that they are ready for more. Just as a steward who cares well for a small task is entrusted with greater responsibility, so the one who lives richly with little prepares the way for greater abundance to unfold. Richness is not in the object, but in the spirit with which it is received and enjoyed. Living richly now also means carrying oneself with confidence, grace, and assurance. One need not wait for wealth to walk with dignity. A straight posture, a clear voice, and a kind word cost nothing, yet they convey an air of abundance that draws favorable attention. Generosity, too, is an act of richness. To give freely of one's time, love, or resources, even in small ways, creates an atmosphere of prosperity. The universe rushes to fill any space created by giving, and the giver finds themselves continually supplied. But the miserly spirit clutches and shrinks, but the generous spirit expands and attracts. Thus, living richly is not about hoarding but about circulating good, trusting that more always comes. To live richly is to allow beauty into daily life. This may be as simple as pausing to admire the sunset, placing a flower in a vase, or speaking words of encouragement. When one takes time to recognize beauty, no matter how small, they align with the richness of creation itself. Such alignment opens the heart and mind, making them receptive to higher experiences of abundance. It is never the size of the possession that matters, but the consciousness behind it. A small room can feel rich when filled with light, laughter, and gratitude, while a grand mansion can feel barren if filled with worry and discontent. True richness flows from within and radiates outward. The one who practices living richly now lives by faith rather than fear. They do not wait for signs to appear before believing. They believe first and allow signs to follow. They declare through their actions that abundance is already theirs, and so abundance rushes to meet them. To delay living fully is to declare lack. To live richly now is to declare plenty. The universe always echoes back what is declared. Therefore, the path to prosperity is not one of waiting but of claiming, not of postponement but of embodiment. When one treats each day as rich, each blessing as enough, and each moment as divine, life reflects this richness in multiplied ways. Wealth is a state of mind, for it begins not with coins in the hand or figures in the bank, but with the consciousness one carries within. Many imagine that prosperity is determined by possessions, yet history shows countless examples of those who held riches without peace, and those who possessed little yet lived in overflowing joy. True wealth is born in the unseen realm of thought and belief. It is the conviction that one is supported by the universe, supplied by an infinite source, and worthy of all good things. When this conviction is deeply rooted, the outer conditions rearrange themselves to mirror it. A poor man with a rich consciousness soon finds opportunities, while a rich man with a poor consciousness may lose all and struggle to keep even a fraction of what he owns. The mind, therefore, is the true storehouse of wealth. When one cultivates thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and sufficiency, they carry an atmosphere that draws prosperity. This atmosphere is felt by others and responded to by circumstances. Employers, clients, and friends instinctively sense confidence and generosity, and life reflects back these qualities in material form. Conversely, when one clings to thoughts of fear, scarcity, and unworthiness, they create blockages in the flow of supply. Even if wealth touches their hand, it slips away quickly, for the inner state cannot sustain it. Thus, wealth is not something to be pursued externally, but something to be cultivated internally until it radiates outward as naturally as the sun gives light. The wealthy state of mind expresses itself in faith. Faith says, "What I need is already provided." It trusts that even when appearances suggest lack, the unseen supply is working silently to meet every demand. Faith refuses to be shaken by temporary conditions, for it knows that reality is shaped by belief. Such a mind is never impoverished, for it draws ideas, guidance, and resources that lead to prosperity. Ideas themselves are a form of wealth, for one inspired idea may open the door to endless riches. A mind open to divine inspiration becomes a magnet for these ideas, while a mind clouded with fear cannot hear the still, small voice of guidance. A wealthy mind also practices gratitude. Gratitude multiplies what is at hand, for by giving thanks for little, one makes it much. To say, "I bless what I have, and I rejoice in it," is to open the heart to greater blessings. The ungrateful mind, however, repels abundance, for it sees only what is missing, and so continues to attract lack. Gratitude shifts perception, turning ordinary moments into treasures and drawing more treasures to come. When practiced sincerely, it transforms the smallest dwelling into a palace and the simplest meal into a banquet. This is why the truly wealthy are not those who possess the most, but those who appreciate the most. Generosity, too, springs from the wealthy state of mind. One who feels rich within gives freely without fear of depletion. They know that giving creates space for new supply, and that circulation is the law of life. The miser, though surrounded by gold, feels poor, for his fear of loss chains him to scarcity. But the generous soul feels secure, for he trusts that more is always on its way. Wealth in the mind translates into wealth in the heart, and such wealth is inexhaustible. Therefore, the outer measure of wealth is always secondary. True riches are cultivated in thought, nurtured by faith, expanded through gratitude, and expressed in generosity. The mind that sees itself as wealthy walks in assurance, attracts prosperity, and sustains it with ease. Wealth is not first in the hand but in the heart, not in possessions but in perception. When the mind is rich, life cannot help but display richness in every form. Affirm divine supply, for the spoken word carries power, and what is continually declared with faith becomes the reality of life. The universe responds not to idle wishes but to firm affirmations spoken with conviction, for words are creative and filled with spiritual authority. To affirm divine supply is to recognize that the source of all abundance is infinite, unfailing, and ever present. It is to remind the mind and heart that there is no true lack, only the appearance of limitation. When one affirms daily that supply is already theirs by divine right, they shift consciousness from doubt to certainty, and certainty is the ground upon which prosperity grows. Affirmations act as seeds planted in the soil of the subconscious mind. Each time one repeats, "I am divinely supplied, all that I need comes to me in perfect ways," the seed is watered and roots grow deeper. Eventually, these words manifest as outer conditions: unexpected income, new opportunities, supportive relationships, and doors that swing open just in time. Just as a farmer must trust that the seed will break forth into a harvest, so must the one who affirms trust that the unseen supply is already moving toward manifestation. To cease affirming because results do not appear instantly is to uproot the seed before it bears fruit. Patience and persistence are the companions of affirmation, for divine timing is always perfect. When fear arises, the tendency is to speak words of lack, "I cannot afford this," or "there is never enough." Such statements are also affirmations, but they affirm limitation, and the universe echoes them back in lived experience. To shift the pattern, one must replace words of fear with words of truth, declaring abundance even in the face of seeming emptiness. This is not denial but recognition that appearances change while the eternal source does not. A purse may be empty, but the storehouse of spirit is full. By affirming divine supply, the heart remains anchored in truth rather than swayed by temporary conditions. Affirmations also serve to align thought and feeling with higher law. They remind the mind of what is real when circumstances attempt to deceive. By repeating words of abundance, the individual impresses the subconscious with images of prosperity, and the subconscious, once convinced, works tirelessly to bring these images into form. Just as a compass always points north, a mind trained through affirmation always turns toward abundance. Opportunities overlooked before are suddenly noticed, ideas hidden in the shadows are revealed, and courage to act upon them arises naturally. The affirmation opens the inner door through which supply enters. Gratitude strengthens affirmation. When one affirms divine supply and then gives thanks for it as though it were already visible, they create a magnetic force that draws the unseen into manifestation. Gratitude says, "It is done," even before the evidence appears. The combination of affirmation and gratitude is unstoppable, for it speaks the language of faith. Life must answer such faith with proof, for the law of the Spirit is exact. The one who affirms in doubt weakens their word, but the one who affirms with joy and thanksgiving sends forth a clear decree that the universe hastens to fulfill. To affirm divine supply is also to acknowledge one's worthiness. Many secretly block prosperity because they feel undeserving. Affirmations such as, "I am worthy of every good gift," "I am a child of the infinite," and "my inheritance is abundance," dissolve the old patterns of unworthiness and replace them with the truth of divine identity. As consciousness rises, so too does experience. Wealth, success, peace, and joy flow naturally to the one who continually affirms their divine right to them. By declaring divine supply, one aligns with the eternal truth that there is no shortage in God's kingdom, and that all things needed come by grace, in perfect ways, and at the perfect time. Beloved, the moment you choose to think, speak, and act as though abundance is already yours, you step into alignment with the divine law of prosperity. Life reflects your consciousness, and when you carry yourself in faith, gratitude, and dignity, wealth has no choice but to flow toward you. Do not wait for outer signs, create the inner certainty now. Walk as the rich walk, give as the wealthy give, rejoice as the prosperous rejoice, and the universe will echo your vibration in multiplied ways. Affirm daily, "I live in God's endless supply, and all that is mine by divine right now manifests with ease and grace." Live as though you already possess it, and soon the evidence will surround you. For the riches of spirit are unlimited, and when you embody wealth in thought, word, and deed, money follows swiftly and surely.